Good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat Shalom on this Parshat Tzav. So much to be grateful for. Even when the klipa, when the darkness seems to be covering all of the light. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the sun in the sky. You echo me on thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the clouds so high. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the whispering wind. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the birds in the spring. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the moonlit night. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the stars so bright. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the wondering me. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for the way I feel. Thanks for the animals, thanks for the land. Thanks for the people everywhere. Thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Thanks for all I've got. Thanks for all I've got. You may have not known until now that the melody that we use for Birkot HaShachar is Rafi's Thanks a Lot, especially parents who have children in their late 20s and 30s remember Rafi very, very well. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichronot Livracha, teaches that the first words we are taught to say each morning, immediately our waking, are what? Modeh ani. I give thanks. We thank before we think. Note that the normal word order is inverted, modeh ani, not ani modeh. So that in Hebrew, the thanks comes before the I. Our beautiful tradition teaches that this is an attitude of gratitude. With gratitude comes an attitude. The source of the command to give thanks is to be found in this week's Parsha. Among the sacrifices it itemizes is the Karbon Todah, the Thanksgiving offering. So, besides having an attitude of gratitude, Judy would agree with me that one should have an attitude. And so one must recognize the beginning of the baseball season here this past week. And with that, I'm going to be leaning into a lot of, baseball metaphors for my drash. Here we go. Well, what do many, many ball players do after they hit a home run? Thank you, God. They look up to the heavens and they give thanks, and many of them cross themselves as well. Well, this fits right into this week's Torah portion, giving thanks, the shlamim offering, the peace offering. Remember, shlamim, that word of the offering, the shorish of it is shin, lamed, mem, the same as shalom, the same as shlemut, the peaceful offering, the peace offering, the offering of wholeness, that we return to that place of wholeness. Im Allah todah yakrivenu v'hikriv al sevach todah chalot matzot belulat v'shemen urekikuk matzot mishuchim b'shemen v'solet murbechet chalot belulot b'shemen. One who offers it as a thanksgiving shall offer together with the sacrifice of thanksgiving. So, if you had something to be grateful for, this was an offering that you brought voluntarily to the temple or to the Mishkan since we are in the middle of the desert right now. What are you supposed to bring? Unleavened cakes with oil mixed in unleavened wafers, spread with oil, and cakes of choice flour with oil mixed in. Well soaked. Shlamim, it's a peace offering. As I just said, it is a voluntary gift. Now, why is this, okay, looking forward to Pesach. Why is this offering different from all other offerings? The reason is because everyone benefits from it. This offering, and I'm going to tell you what they brought in a moment, this offering is divided between all parties. First of all, the blood, not the blood. The blood and fats are burned on the altar, God's altar, of course. The chest and the hind legs of the offering go to the priests, and the remainder of the meat and skin goes to the person who brought it with them to make the offering. Now, they get that part of the offering, and they share it among their community. So this is a big barbecue following the offering that the one who brings it shares it among friends. Now, what are some of the things that this person might have brought? Well, first of all, it might be an ox, or it might be a sheep, or it could be a goat, or a turtle dove, or a pigeon. So you note the turtle dove and the pigeon. You could well suspect that this would have been less expensive to purchase and actually easier to schlep to the temple than the other three things. There was a whole cottage industry made up of selling these things out in the courtyard. And so people had to earn a living, of course. Shlamim results in everyone walking away with something. And that spreads shalom. That spreads peace. The medieval commentator Rav Yosef Bechor Shur adds that the way of peace is that everyone sits together and eats. Renee makes a cookie called the World Peace Cookie, and she asserts that if everyone sat down and ate this cookie, world peace would break out right like that. Ben Borzakowski, his parents had Shabbos dinner with us last night. Ben and I studied together for bar mitzvah. It must have been at least 12 or so years ago. And we were studying the book of Vayikra, the book of Leviticus, with all of the sacrifices. And Ben, being an avid baseball fan, was quick to answer my question when I asked him, Ben, what is, in your mind, a sacrifice? And his answer was, it is when you give something up in order to benefit others. Now, you might notice on the right, there is a Philadelphia Philly baseball player who I haven't been able to identify. Dropping to a knee can help stabilize the hitter during a sacrifice bunt. That is the perfect asana, the perfect posture for a sacrifice bunt. Fall on your knees. And isn't it the perfect posture for us during the Grand Aleinu, during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, to demonstrate our deep, deep humility before divinity? The sacrifice is something that benefits everyone. Let's take a look. The sacrifice bunt sets the entire field in motion. When the batter, whose purpose is to move a runner on first or first and second along to get into scoring position, when that batter lays down a bunt, look what happens. All of the defenses moves. The left fielder backs over third base. The center fielder backs up second base. The right fielder backs up first base. The third baseman and the first baseman are running towards first base in case the bunt goes towards them, and so is the pitcher. The second baseman covers first, and the shortstop is covering second, but sometimes that shortstop, if a circular play is on, is going to cover third, but then the sacrifice is not going to be in action. So everybody is moving. Everybody benefits from the fact that the person has sacrificed himself. And now here's the beautiful thing. This is a sacrifice of commission, right? This is where the player's intention was to sacrifice something for the benefit of all. And on the scorecard, he's not penalized for the sacrifice. It doesn't count as an at-bat against his batting average. How awesome is that? But now here's the rub, my friends. You remember those players pointing to heaven after he struck out, after Pedro Martinez struck out a batter, or after that hitter hit a home run? The Talmud says, In their great wisdom, chayav adam levarech al hara, kashem shehu mevarech al hatova. A person is obligated to bless God for the bad in the same manner that you bless God for the good. This might present you with a question and a challenge. Now, what is the proof text that the rabbis lean on for this? V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha. This is Harrison Bader. This is, I forgot his name. He pitches for the Braves. His name is Max Fried. They're both Jewish ball players. So one would think that if the Jewish ball players were observing and commemorating their Jewish heritage, if you struck out somebody, you might point to the heaven or point to your heart. But if you gave up a home run, isn't that God as well? If you struck out at bat or you hit a home run, there is the Ra and the Tov. I'd like to see a Jewish ball player do that someday. Give thanks on the field of dreams to both the Tov and the Ra. This leads us, my friends, to a story. And Renee is going to slip in here in my seat, because what at first seems like a blessing might be a curse, and what at first seems like a curse might be a blessing.
Once, there was a farmer. He raised horses. He had a few good horses, and one day his best horse escaped, ran off. In this small farmer's life, that looked like a tragedy to his neighbors. They came over to console him, but all the farmer said was, "What seems to be a curse may be a blessing. What seems to be a blessing may be a curse." And it turned out that a few days later, the horse returned, and she brought with her a small herd of other horses. So now he had plenty of horses. The neighbors came to help celebrate with him. But all he said was, "What seems to be a blessing may be a curse. What seems to be a curse may be a blessing." And a while later, the farmer's son set out to train one of those new horses who had come up, but the horse was wild through the sun. He badly broke his leg. He was confined to his bed. The neighbors came to console the farmer and his son for this grievous injury. But you know what the farmer said. He just shook his head and said, "What seems to be a curse may be a blessing. What seems to be a blessing may be a curse." And it turned out that as this young man recovered in his bed, unable to walk, the army came to town, and they coerced all the young men in town into serving and took them away with them. The only young man who remained at home, it was the farmer's son. And that's why they say in those parts, you never do know. What seems to be a blessing may be a curse. What seems to be a curse may be a blessing.
On this Shabbos day, on this Parshat Tzav, may we be blessed in all things, both the Tov and the Ra, and may we be blessed to see the light behind the darkness. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.